everybody.
Hey.
It's good to see a good crowd here tonight. Must be something of interest. Me? I don't think so. But I'll call on Karen to give us an invocation.
Let us stand. Bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come at this time asking for healing in Israel at this time. Lord, we're asking you to grant peace in that area. Lord, we come before you at this time in faith. We know that you know what is best. We thank you for what you have given us. We thank you for your many blessings in our lives. We ask for your guidance during this meeting. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen.
And at this time, let us have a moment of silence for the people in Israel and in the Middle East. Thank you.
Okay, we'll have pledge allegiance to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a lot of items to cover tonight. And I want everybody to please be respectful of everybody else. Everybody has the opportunity to be here and be heard. And so I would appreciate also no talking while others are talking. And we'll get through the business of the day. So thank you for that. We'll have a reading and approval of the previous minutes.
On the RZ-190568-Skillet, the last paragraph of that, this is a motion was made to table request. It should be approved instead of tabled. Other than that, I'll make a motion with that change that the minutes be approved.
Okay, so we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. You can't vote. Okay. Okay, motion carries, thank you. Okay, thank you. There is no old business, and we have a lot of new business. So the first one is RZ-190568, Marie Hyde. She was the first person here. Marie, it's good to see you again. Beth?
RZ-23190-549 from Marie Hyde. She's requesting to rezone 4.005 acres located on Highway 136 West, Talking Rock, from highway business to suburban residential. The applicant requests the rezone for the purpose of creating 4 residential lots. And the staff recommends approval of the SR zoning request. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and the video recording of the Planning Commission's hearing, including but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made a part of record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review. If you will look behind you on your maps, you will see the area in question, and it is located in the Blaine community. Next to it is a little piece of a cemetery somewhere. See the little CEM over there? That was really cool too. And next. There you go.
Marie, what do you have to say for yourself?
I simply want to rezone it from commercial to SR to build 4 single-family homes. Pretty straight.
Okay, you will build 4 homes. What size houses are they going to be?
They're usually about 1,500 square feet. I've built several. And my favorite plan is a ranch home that's about 1,500 square feet, 2-car garage, open floor plan, people really like it. I built several over on Yellow Creek Road and they usually sell very well.
What does a 1,500 square foot house go for new these days?
Right now, it's 400,000.
400,000. Wow,
Gone up a lot.
you sure? So you think the market's ready for it? You're gonna step out?
Well, we'll see.
When
I
do
also said that I might put in 4 mobile homes, but I really want to build houses, so unless something really changes, it will be houses.
Access gonna be on 136
Uh-huh.
4.
Yeah, it's got over 600 square feet, so there's a lot of road frontage for the houses.
Okay. Further questions for Marie? We have one person that would like to speak. Craig?
I'm sorry, I marked down for the wrong one.
Okay, what number are you? Which issue?
010061.
This is number 2. This is the parcel number.
Which one?
Number 2.
B.
Oh, I got it, okay. Well, you just made Marie feel a lot better. Marie, they just know you very well, don't they?
Let's not go there.
Further questions for Marie? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve.
Okay. We have a motion to accept the recommendation of the staff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Marie. You want to stay with us for the whole rest of the evening? Or you want to?
Yeah, this is entertainment.
For sure.
I'm going to remember that. All right, we'll close that hearing and we'll move on to hearing CU 190552. Mike, is it Dietzel?
Yes.
All right, very good. Okay, Bethany?
We have an application from Mike Dietzel, located on Highway 36 before Jones Mountain Road, Talking Rock, Georgia. He is requesting a conditional use permit to build a luxury RV park with 66 sites and the facilities. The applicant is proposing to develop less than 10% of the property into a guest-only motor coach RV park and to include a clubhouse building, roads, and RV parking spaces. The clubhouse would include a Mediterranean design to match other features on the property. There will be a gated entry and asphalted roads throughout the park. There will be level asphalt and concrete pads suitable for RV motor coaches. Fire, safety, and emergency preparedness standards will be in place. A pool, pickleball courts, and fireplaces with pits and patios, in addition to hiking trails on the property, are included in the proposal. Motor coaches 10 years old or less will be allowed, Class A only, and the average stay is 1 to 2 weeks. The development of the RV paths will be located beyond the visibility of any adjacent roads, and buffers will be in place to ensure privacy for both guests and surrounding property owners. The applicant is proposing to create a very rural and green park, will leave much of the green space as is. Any temporary removal due to grading will be restored. There should be a final development footprint of less than 10 acres. Applicants will have strict rules and abide by local sound regulations. Staff recommends approval of the conditional use request, as the applicant must adhere to the standards provided for in the Pickens County Code of Ordinances for this development. If the request is approved, the applicant must follow the subdivision process as set forth in Pickens County Ordinance Section 38-652, Campground in General, B, which states, plat requirements for subdivisions apply to all campgrounds, including all soil and erosion requirements. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and the video recording of the Planning Commission's hearing, including but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that the information be made a part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review. If you will look behind you, you will see the location map. access will be off of 136. It is zoned agriculture, obviously. And with it being zoned agriculture, the only way you can do a campground is with a conditional use permit.
Okay.
That is a proposed site plan, of the property, of the layout of the park. Keep on action.
Okay, very good. Mr. Dietzel,
Yes,
what would you add to what has been outlined?
I have a handout that I could maybe provide to you.
Okay,
Just a few more pictures, 'cause sometimes they show a little bit more than just descriptions. One more? One for you too. Yeah, pass it around. Not for everybody, quite a few. Everybody say it.
tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
what you want to do and why.
thank you. Yeah, thanks first of all for our application, taking time to review it. We have, as you can see, a beautiful plan, as was described for a, they say luxury, but it really is modern. Luxury may be more associated with hotels. It's a modern RV park. It has relatively small sites compared to many other RV parks. You maybe know the RV Park North in Gilbert County, the Kelowna Ridge Park. Anybody familiar?
The one up by Walmart.
ADJOURNMENT? Yes. So just for comparison, if you guys know, it's maybe about a third amount of pads of that, with more than 4 times the amount of space.
Yeah, they're packed in there.
Yes, so my wife and I and family have been looking to open a park, but only if we would really find a suitable piece of land. And we found 115 acres right off of the Highway 136 this year, which we purchased for this purpose. The idea is really to have, in a nutshell, it was described, to create a site with hiking trails, a modern infrastructure, but with a very few amount of sites. So a really green park as opposed to many other parks. We're not really interested in many other parks that you see around, which are more like parking lots. And so we would really emphasize that. People in, the main entrance is described as being off of 136, coming through Highway 515, over 136, going east. So it is just before Jones Mountain Road that you will find the entrance, proposed entrance, the single entrance to our park. It spans between that and Fisher Creek Road at the north, which is a county gravel road, which will not be used as any access to the property. The property is sloping up. There's already a mountain road going in, and then 2/3 of the property will slope down. Our built out will be at the ridge lines of the property, with hopefully many nice views either to the north and to the south. People would be coming through off the freeway highway, so to speak, about a mile and a half. The people in Talking Rock are ecstatic with our plans. The vendors are. We spoke to the mayor, James Bryan. People around have been very receptive, and as soon as they see our plans, they're very excited. We propose a very pretty park. We only wanted to propose something that really would fit, that has a chance to fit within the county, because the county is very restrictive, as we are. We, as I said, we only want to build something that meets your standards and more. So the pads are by and large larger than what you require. So the location is more or less in the center of of the land. Far away, there's 2 residential properties on the north, and there's another residence to the southeast that will be the closest, but they will still be at least 500 feet away from any type of activity, which is, it's a park. It's not a racetrack, it's also not a family park with slides. It's a park for people that our age by and large, middle age and older adults that have a lot of the time sold their house and bought a Class A motor coach.
Are you a camper?
Yes, my wife and I have been campers and RVers, and we love the outdoors. We have been hard pressed to find a place that we could compare. We're part of the Association of RV and Campgrounds, both the state of Georgia and the national one. And they're great help. Some of our team members are sitting here. There's many professionals that have been already helping to create this plan. We did not want to come before you without any plans or any type of designs because of the impact of the park.
I see you're gonna have pickleball courts.
Yes. That's the number one activity that people in RVs, as you probably know.
I read a report where seniors, of which some of us fit that category, have high injury rates playing pickleball.
Certainly, the case, any type of thing, you don't strengthen yourself. Yeah. So, yeah, we're planning a few amenities, around the clubhouse that would be kind of center. There was a star there on the map, it will be probably a little bit higher up on the road. It's about a 400-yard road. There will be a water feature with a fountain, and there will be some pickleball courts, a pool, bocce ball, and some other campground type of activities.
What kind of buffer are you gonna have between the park and the neighboring areas there?
So, as I briefly, I don't know if I finished my sentence, but the 3 homes that are probably about 500 feet at least between. There's one home to the southeast, there's actually a big berm. So that is a double buffer. We're not planning anything loud. People, there will be fire pits. It is important to note that our clientele is specifically chosen for this reason to fit in, to not be of the family type. There will not be like other type of tiny homes or other things going on. So yeah, buffers, there will be, of course, everything will be designed according to code and to standards, which is quite rigorous with this type of plan too, as you can imagine. We have planned for months to try to not have any dirt leave or come at the property. Everything will be designed so that we have minimal impact of the property and of the trees, which we love because we don't want to take out more than that. Some we have to take out for septic arrangements and some buffer. And those 10 acres will be planted back afterwards. There will be, in one of the pictures you'll see some of the samples of the site layout of the pictures of the RVs. There's one site in Michigan, an RV park that we love, a motor coach resort, that is taken from there. There are very few parks that have that type of space. And there's almost no park that has this low density, this high amount of green space. This is the picture of basically we see everything green. The dark green is where the existing trees will stay, the light green is what we will replant as far as grass, plants, shrubs, trees. We have been looking all over the states, and there are some parks that do a beautiful job. They're certainly beautiful parks. The amount of work and how you have to look at this layout is that we will have terracing various lots. There will, because of the topography. We will hopefully, no doubt, have a very positive impact to our clientele will. There are about 450,000 people that do this on a full time. And they typically pass by North Georgia because there's no place to go. They may stop in a parking lot or other places where you see the park. What better place to have it, to have a nicely designed place in Pickens County where we can also benefit from having a place that you really don't notice and have the benefit for people that need their car repaired, go to the hairdresser, eat restaurants. We've studied your comprehensive plan from a few years ago where citizens give input to what they would like to see, and you all know that, I'm sure. It was noticeable by us to see that people really like in the future to see more restaurants, to have some sort of modest tourism increase and job growth. Well, we feel that we can provide that. Economic impact studies have shown that our clientele spends 7 times as much on-site on our park as in the neighboring area than in the park. And that's a lot of money just to fill up one of these vehicles is a small fortune.
What does it cost to stay?
It will be about $150 at least, based also on the competition north of us. There will be golf carts. There will be other things that we would do that normally you would say, like for instance, electric garden equipment. It's not that we buy it for the fantastic range of battery, but it's just one of the things to keep the noise down. It's been a request from many park visitors that, you know, lawn equipment is noisy.
Okay.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, I think we both share a passion of keeping things green and beautiful. And that's the why we designed the park the way it is.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
You do not have water, county water there?
Good question. I forgot to go over my own slides. So there's county water, there's electrical underground. We will have a moderate bad history assumes that. So we'll have electrical, water, and we'll have sewer. The sewer, we will have septic fields, which we about to put an application, we're getting an application.
Further questions?
Approval, as it's presented, saying 10% plus or minus of this acre would be developed.
Yes, sir.
If we're conditionally approving it for the entire tract, can we be confined to this under this approval?
If you were to stipulate so.
So otherwise, the entire tract would be developed theoretically.
Especially if you may not, they may not intend to do that, but conditional follows the property and someone else might come in and develop the whole thing in this basis.
It's not really possible because of the topography. We wanted 70 sites initially. It's just, this is it. To have the amenities that we have.
But it seems like a good project and a quality project. My only concern would be 10 or 11 acres is one thing, but
Yeah.
115 acres.
I mean,
is
if
different.
for some reason I couldn't do this, then another developer would maybe do that instead of selling, putting homes down. But that's not our plan. Any other person, I know with various people in the county that have a house on a long driveway with a barn, they take it more than this.
So you're asking, can you limit the conditional use to that density that's proposed?
Well, the other thing is, I don't want to tie their hands until actually, it's still a little bit in development, right? I mean, there's still, is the plan set for, I mean, what we see here? In other words, I guess what I'm saying is, do you need some legal work? No, I got you. If you're saying 10%
We're ready for permitting.
plus or minus is going to be developed, and if it's 115 acres, that's 11 and a half acres. I don't necessarily want to tie your hands if you needed 13 acres or 15 acres, but again, my concern comes back to the entire thing being covered up with this.
That's old fishing.
I don't think the product fits for the site, it just doesn't. This is the best property for these, and we've used those areas for that. You can't get, those things up and down in 20% grades and things like that.
The
So
fire
we're stuck with this model.
The fire chief has looked at it, and this is designed for their,
Want to make sure that it was capable.
designed with their width and hot fire hydrants, it's all been laid out.
Good question, good question. Further questions? We've got some folks that want to speak a little bit. Thank you. Marshall Mullins. Where are you, Marshall? How are you, Marshall? I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a while, it's I'm concerned about the location. Mainly because the lay of the land is steep. I've lived in that area for 36 years. I know the property well. I actually leased it for years, many years. It's narrow ridge tops, straight off drops, the entire property. Fisher Creek lays at the bottom. It's a trout stream. It's your trout stream. Where I live on Fisher Creek too. I've had one new neighbor. And I'd like to show you one of the pictures of what one dry flow will do. I'm worried about the runoff, controlling the water, because like I said, the property is just straight off. The width, as that's laid out, I know exactly what that is. I know exactly where everything's going to lay, because I've been on that property for 30 years. Several of those are right behind a couple of houses. Others, they will be near 136. But can I bring this up and let you know like it is? This is what was done to my property. Just because talking rock allowed one driveway. I bet it didn't reconcile. This property is even worse than that, it's steeper.
All right, thank you, Marshall.
Now all the water on the north of that will never drop over to my daughter's property. She lives down where it is flat. She has a horse farm. Water runs downhill. Our farm is across the road from that, but the entire length of this property, every minute of water within hers. What may go off the Jones Mountainside will hit my oldest daughter's farm. So, and let's go get other number two. Ricky Evelyn earned it. There's the drainage off this property. One goes to the Evelyn's front yard, Ricky Evelyn's. One goes through Ricky Evelyn's pasture. Two goes across my daughter Macy's property. And the only other drainage goes across my daughter Macy's property. So the concerns controlling the water, keeping the out of Fisher Creek. The pictures I saw you, one of the kids lost there right now.
Okay.
Was their dad the same guy? How many lost there with the people who knew?
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, good to see you, thank you. And Macy Mullins. Macy, you gonna speak?
I would just like to add just a few more things in there.
Is that your daddy?
That is my father. I'll claim him today. Like he said, I'll be getting the majority of what's coming off this. 10 acres may not sound like a lot, but when you take away what's holding the dirt there, the forage, I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna get something. And not only that, this is gonna decrease my property value. So who's gonna compensate me for that? So studies have shown it decreases property value by 20%. And on the other side of this, there's new building sites where homes haven't been developed yet. So he's just saying he's within a certain footage of a few homes now, but the subdivision that's right next door, there's gonna be homes there. They've already got sites developed, so he'll be closer and have view of them as well. And if he's talking about views, then that means if you go and look at the property, if he's gonna get some views off of there, he's gonna be clearing lots of trees. And if he's getting views, that's most likely gonna be, he can see me, and if he can see me, I'm gonna be able to see him from where I'm at. I love where I live. Pickens is considered the first mountain city. And what are we doing to it? We're getting rid of the mountains. We're making this, outskirts of Atlanta, and I'd really love to keep it how it is. I love where I live. I really prefer not to move, but everything's encroaching on us, and it's being allowed. I'm not trying to crush anybody's dreams of building their RV park, but have we even, discussed, they said the average stay is 1 to 2 weeks, but how do we know no one's coming in and living here to, what I had heard is that tiny homes were proposed originally and turned down just because of Pickens County's regulations. So who's to say we're not just having people move in RVs to circumvent the whole tiny home? I'd like to keep it how it is. It'd be different if it's someone's building a home and something that's gonna, be there for a while and not just be people coming in and out and creating more traffic. And what does that mean for Fisher Creek Road again? I've already had people surveying on my property. Fisher Creek Road is a gravel to gravel. There's no easement on either side, and people have physically been on my property during their surveys. So just some things to consider. They said, all the neighbors were on board. I think the majority of them haven't. I didn't even physically get a letter. It's within 300 foot of my property, and I didn't get a letter or notification that this is even happening. I just got told by a neighbor, so thankfully, but just taking neighbors' considerations.
Well, there were signs posted, right?
There are, but people get home all different ways, so, but yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're still playing your daddy. Okay, I got Craig.
Yes.
I didn't forget you, Craig. Is it
For the morning,
Monty? Thank
Yes,
you.
For the water to get to her property, it's gonna be going through mine. I live right at the foot of that mountain. And as they go in and start doing all their work, it's gonna come rolling down the hill right into the bottom of my house. On top of that, most of those places have dump stations for those RVs. Where's that gonna go? I'm on a well. These people are on wells. Is it going into our well water? Because, I'm pretty sure it will end up there. This is not good. Growth is gonna happen here eventually. But, do you want transient growth, or do you want permanent growth from taxpayers who are paying property taxes? Not people who come here and circumvent the family lifestyle of the people that live in this community. I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable with transients. He's talking about hiking trails. Those hiking trails are gonna come right to my backyard. And you're gonna tell me those people, like Macy said, I've had the surveyors coming onto my property. And I've had to tell them, you at least come up and knock on my door and ask permission. These people, especially if they have kids, their kids are gonna go run off to play in the woods, just like I did, just like y'all probably did. Next thing you know, they're gonna be in my yard, messing with my chickens. Maybe Kenny's dog goes after one of them, and then the kid gets dead because he's somewhere he doesn't belong. And I'm sorry, but the one in LJ, they rip out every tree. It's ugly. You drive by it, and you tell me it's not butt ugly, because it is.
I've seen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Byers?
I don't need to say anything.
Joe Fowler? Where are you, Joe?
Right here.
Okay.
I've got the track that's closest to him, by the design wall. Most of those are gonna be up against my property. I'm just a little worried about the noise and the future building site, what's the building site? I like a little more green space on my side, where he's wanting to put this, there's no green space left there. It's right up to the property. Just a little more green space, I would hope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Daniel Townsend. Come on up here, Daniel. You're on the back row there.
Yeah.
Are you a Baptist?
Yes, sir.
How did I
All
know?
day long, I like fried chicken.
Hey, I do too.
Yes, sir.
But I'm a Methodist.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Only difference is baptism, I think.
Yeah.
But, yes, I'm, anytime I live in Talking Rock, they're on 136 between the church and Yukon Road there. I built my house on the old home place, so I've lived there almost 66 years. And real happy there, I love it. My family lives there. Address y'all, okay, that's the old one. I don't
We'd rather see
normally,
the front side.
I don't
than the
normally
back
come
side.
to these, so
That's
that's
fine.
something impressive.
We're no different than you. We just happen to be sitting here and you're standing there.
Right. But, anyway, it's not, it's probably maybe 500, 600 foot through the woods, if you go through the woods from where we live. And, but I'm here basically to back up my neighbors over here.
So you're
We
just,
all,
you're
love-
further down one.
love one another, yeah,
Are you on the other side of Fisher Road?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. But, what worries me, I'm sure y'all are concerned too, of being good stewards of what we do have in this county. And, one concern is the highway there, all the traffic on that road now. And where I live, I'm concerned with my children and my grandkids trying to get out in the road there now is we have to roll the windows down and listen for traffic, And that's gonna put 60 more vehicles on that road every day, at least once. Probably 3 times a day. And, also as far as the fire goes and the water service, my clerk of the church that I pastor, Black Creek Baptist Church in LJ, he is one of the only volunteer firemen we've got down there. He says we don't have enough pressure on the fire hydrant there at the hill to fill up the truck now. We've got to go somewhere else to fill up the fire truck. And our insurance has went up because we don't have enough volunteer firemen there. So everybody that lives there now, our insurance is already sky high because of that. And I have a lot of neighbors that are concerned because they don't have enough water pressure as it is, the families that live there. And that they're on county water. So I'm on well water.
Have you thought about being a volunteer firefighter?
I have been before,
Yeah.
when I was in my 20s, well, teenager and 20s. So.
I still am, and I'm a little bit beyond 20.
Yeah, right. But when I retire, I might be a volunteer again. That'll be next year. So, but at this point, I'm too busy, so.
So traffic and water.
Traffic and water and my neighbors love them all very dearly. And I want the best for their welfare. And also, with a firing range for the county, the policemen from out of town.
We're further down.
Just right up, about a quarter mile up the hill there. So whenever the campers come there, they start sitting out there by their fires and hearing guns shooting, like, I don't know how well that's gonna go over. It wouldn't go over at all for me, so, Anyway,
You're worried about the noise from the police officer shooting, not where they were shooting.
right, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I hear plenty of the noise from it now, but I am worried about the traffic.
Understood.
My kids, grandkids, friends.
Okay,
But,
thank you.
But, you know, if we could be proactive with that stuff, if the county's got a plan to help out with the roadways and the water before they put the park in, you know, it would be my advice. But anyway, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Dietzel, we've had a couple of issues raised here. What about the dump station issue?
There will be no dump station. Each site will have their own, connected up to.
They have their own septic tank?
Well, not owns, they're sharing 6 fields. Tank,
Okay, one big septic tank?
6
Six
spread out.
spread out. So how many is that per, how many homes, how many RVs per septic
There
tank?
will be between, depending on the area, between 10 and 15, roughly, bags to one tank.
All right, and what about the runoff issue? Bethany, we looked into that?
He will have to submit an erosion control plan that has to be approved before he can do any building clearing or anything of that nature.
So,
And those are designed to accommodate whatever's coming off of there.
so that's beyond just a silk fence?
Yes, sir.
That's-
Way beyond that, yes, sir.
And so you will have a chance to review that and
Yes.
determine that it's,
I will look at it and I will send it off to Athens for their approval. And then when we get it back, we go from there.
okay. The other issue raised was noise. I was concerned about noise from these folks that are gonna be residing.
Well, the noise is really from the state highway. Most of the noise, we would have to plant barrier trees by the road. The water feature is, they have to combat some of that noise. It's not the noise of our guests. Again, this is not a racetrack, this is not some melody, these are people quietly being at a park, camping. I don't think it's frankly valid, the noise is there from the road. And an occasional gunshot in the distance from what you mentioned as this police firing range. It's also extremely spread out, everything. Even the runoff water is, it's not like an ordinary small subdivision where everything comes in one area. But it has to be all built to code, and we will not pass anything if we don't have proper water erosion control in place.
Is it possible to have certain hours that it would be quiet there, that everything kind of closes down and?
Normal campgrounds are, depending on the day of the week, of course. It's typically like 10 o'clock. But any type of noise ordinance that you have, I mean, we want to be good stewards to our neighbors, so there won't be any type of loud concerts going on, because it's not in our interest. We want to be good neighbors. We want to have our guests happy, but it's not in our interest to create a lot of noise for everybody.
What's the average age of the person that's gonna be in one of these RVs?
It's all like 55 plus. They're usually couples that are there. And yes, there may be an occasional grandchild stopping over, but this is not normal.
Bethany, has the water departments, have they looked at these preliminary plans?
Yes, sir, I have talked to Michelle and she said that Mike will have to apply for a meter and we'll have to put in water lines to run through there. And I think she said it's either 6 or an 8 inch, I don't remember which one she said.
6 inch, there's enough pressure, we already.
But it will be counted, it will be counted.
And so,
Philip and the fire folks as well, they were all on board with that.
so Daniel was saying that water pressure is an issue now.
Well, these lines will be larger than what's there now.
Where are they coming from? Do we know?
The county's previously from the water,
No.
coming in there?
They will be required to run the water lines in their development.
Yeah, so the county will put a meter at the
Yes.
property line, and then they've got
And
to.
the lines have to be able to accommodate fire protection in there.
So will the county, has the county addressed that with respect to the plans and the volume of water that they're gonna need?
Yes, sir, we have talked about it.
And they don't perceive an issue of.
No, sir. And Philip has been in on all of our meetings.
Questions? Further questions from the board?
If they tie on their water lines to the ones that's already there, and they got low pressure now, that's not going to get any more pressure.
And they'll have to do pressure tests, I'm sure.
The pressure is adequate, more than adequate, has been tested.
They did the test, Philip and Greg, and
Okay.
did that testing, found it's good, the fire department, happy with that. They were actually ecstatic when they saw the numbers. They were very pleased with those numbers, because there's a lot of places where it's not so good.
Has state DOT already approved the entrance?
They have been submitted, we met with the GDOT folks, Donovan, and he was fine with it. He said, get them submitted, we've submitted them recently, and we're waiting for their reply, which they said they don't need, they're fine with it the way it is, just widen up the radius coming in and out.
So you put another lane in on that road, you know,
We've done it to where we've got, lanes coming in and a bypass lane and then the lane to get out. So we've got plenty of access for people to get in and not cause any backup.
Not the state highway, the state
you know,
highway.
the large RVs will be a problem without another lane.
Yeah, I think they're pretty thorough on those decel lanes. I travel that road a lot. I know where this is. Further questions from the board? Do I have a motion?
I think I would like the conditional to have some conditionals, if that's possible. I would like it limited to this 66 stations, pads, and then if it needed to be extended later, they would have to come back to the county again to do so that it doesn't end up, there's a lot of land and something to put on there. Limited to these 66, Also, definitely limit the stay so that we don't have people living there. What do you think, 2 weeks, is 2 weeks, or 2 weeks be added to the stay?
If you stay 1 to 2 weeks, we will have additionally no discounts for longer term stay, but typically sometimes it induces people to stay maybe 2 to 4 weeks. So we will.
Not beyond that. School bus won't be stopping there. Okay.
So how many weeks did you say?
I think he's going to limit it to 4 with a 2-week extension.
I think that would be fair. I don't think that people will stay beyond 1 or 2, but if they want to pay full price.
Basically, I just don't want people living there. I've
No,
seen
we
that.
don't want that.
Is that,
So your motion is to approve the conditional use with the extra conditions of limiting it to the 66 pads as proposed
right?
and the limit of stay to 4 weeks.
Yes. And with those limitations, I'll make a recommendation that we approve.
Besides the state approving and road control from the Fisher Creek to the trout stream, is there an additional level of
It will be.
scrutiny that it's gonna get from the feds?
Yes, sir, it will be. That will be included in their.
Natural
road control plan.
resources will come out and
whatever they have to do, yes.
So to the issue that Marshall raised, which was this one lot, what we're suggesting that there, because of this size of this development, that there's a higher standard that they are gonna have to meet.
That is correct.
And what happens when they don't? You end up in his shoes.
Runoff issues.
One other thing I would like y'all to consider, would you want it in your backyard?
Understand. Do you have any, is there any other components to the motion that's on the, before us? Okay. All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
One way or another, I think we need to act on it, so we need a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. Okay. Motion does not carry. Are there any other motions? So if we fail to act, then it goes forward with the staff's recommendation to the commissioners, and then they review it and approve it. That's what happens. Okay, everybody's clear on that. Okay.
So the only thing that's happened here is that y'all have not passed.
Correct.
And so there is no follow-up motion to deny the petition. It's just.
That's correct. Okay, we will close that hearing and we'll open a new hearing. RZ-190568, Richard Paulsen. Y'all can, if some of y'all want to go, you're welcome to stay. Marie's having a holiday here today. Thank you.
RZ-231905553, Richard Paulsen. He actually has a rezone along with a conditional use. The property is located at 131 Reavis Road. He is requesting to rezone from suburban residential to agriculture. There are 14.3 acres, and the applicant requests the rezone for the purpose of obtaining a conditional use permit for a horse training facility. The applicant is requesting to rezone a total of 14.3 acres from SR to AG to continue to use as a horse training facility. Mr. Paulsen came in to renew his business license and was discovered his property is inappropriately zoned for the use. His license had expired, and due to current zoning regulations for suburban residential, it could not be issued under the current zoning category. The use of the facility is out of compliance with our ordinance. The recommendation for the rezone request is staff recommends approval of the AG zoning request. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and the video recording of the Planning Commission's hearing, included but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made a part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review. If you look behind you on the location map, you will see where his facility is at present moment. Currently, it is zoned suburban residential, like a lot of the other properties around it. He is requesting it to be agricultural.
Okay. Mr. Paulsen, thank you for your patience. How are you?
Thank y'all for
How are you today?
Well, I bought that property 9 years ago, and we decided to turn it into an arena once we found out that on top of Reavis Mountain there was a flat spot. So we flattened it out, and we made an arena, And it wasn't for our personal use at the time. And then friends and neighbors and all that started coming up, and before you know it, there's no other open arena for a long ways away from us. I don't even think there's a public arena in Pickens County besides us. We got the business license, and when we got the license, we had to upgrade a lot of things. We had to put in a $14,000 septic system. We were using porta pots, and then they wanted us to put in the 1,000 tanks for 2 toilets and 2 sinks. So we did that and put the investment into it, got the license. COVID comes along, and I'm still paying the taxes on the business to the county, but I didn't renew the license. And now that all that craziness is gone, we're ready to do our thing like we've been doing it. We have a great place. A lot of kids and families get to come out there to ride horses and to do the equestrian thing. We have no desire to put a house on it. We live a mile away, and it would just seem like if everybody says, why don't you put a house on there, great views and all that, it would take some away from it for me, because when I go there, it's our getaway, and people can come and they can ride their horses and all that, have little events, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a clean, nice environment.
Did they bring their own horses, or you have horses?
We have some horses, but most people bring their own horses. We've got people bringing horses from Cherokee, from Forsyth, all around Pickens. We have a lot of the high school rodeo people that come and ride there. We watched youths come up, for instance, like Caitlin Kilmurray. I watched her ride there for a long time, and then she went all the way from being centered in our arena to be the NBHA Youth Reserve World Champion. Came out of our little area. And it's nice seeing them have this ability and have a clean and safe place to be. If I would have known that this would have happened, I would have paid the money. It was very close to us losing that property through COVID, because it was terrible. It couldn't work, no one could come out, no one could do anything. So all we like to do is just continue on like we've been doing. And some of our neighbors have sent really nice letters saying, how they appreciate us and the environment that we have there.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Yes, you said it was a horse training and equine activities. What kind of activities?
Trainers can come and they can train students there. People can come and ride their own horses and work their horses there. Tom Berger, who lives across the street, that has 100 acres across the street. Yeah, he lets, after the forestry people came through and cut all this stuff up for fire breaks, we went in there and we cleaned all that up and made trails. So there's trails over on his property that people can ride. And we have little fun shows and stuff where people can come and ride their horses. We have Kiwi programs, youth programs, and all that. And like I say, high school rodeo people come over there and get to work their horses and practice for barrels or poles. So
You aren't actually having rodeos there so that a lot of people come to view is what I was looking for, was attractive.
We have just barrel racing and poles, no bulls, no broncs, none of that stuff. Pretty much horses. Horses and cowgirls and cowboys and lots and lots and lots of kids. And they love to play with the chickens and they love to play with the goats. And our one pig, all of which we took into rehome. And
All right. Further questions? Do you have a motion?
I move the application be approved.
We have a move to approve the application. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Very good, okay. Very good. We'll close that hearing. Now we're gonna open up the next piece, which is CU 190554.
CU 231905554, Mr. Richard Paulsen at 131 Reavis Road. Conditional use permit is requested to operate a horse training facility. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for the continued use of his horse training facility. This request follows a rezone of the property. Mr. Paulsen has operated this training facility for several years. Due to COVID, he let his license expire. In order to obtain a business license, his property must be rezoned and a conditional use permit granted. Pickens County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 67, Table 611, confined animal operation not specifically listed in the table requires a conditional use permit. The recommendation of the staff is approval of the request for a conditional use permit to operate a horse training facility stable. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and the video recording of the Planning Commission's hearing, included but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made a part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review.
Mr. Paulsen, I think you covered this part.
I believe so. I know that there are a lot of young kids and young people that love to come up there and love to ride, and I'd like to continue to keep providing that service.
Very good. Questions? Do you have a motion?
I move.
We have a motion to accept the recommendation of the staff,
I'll second.
and a second. Further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Good luck, Mr. Paulsen. Glad we got you squared away there, my friend.
So a month from now, I go to the next meeting.
It'll be on the commission's agenda.
Yes,
Yeah, what's the date of that, Bethany?
I've got that on the list here.
Yeah, so there they don't ask you to talk, you just sit there and smile.
And then they'll say approved or disapproved.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed night.
Thank you. All right, we'll close that hearing and we'll open RZ-190568 Skillet Properties.
RZ-190568 Skillet Properties LLC, agent for this is Mike Bray. The property is located on Jerusalem Church Road and Hill City Road. The applicant is requesting to rezone 68.87 acres from agriculture to rural residential. The applicant requests the rezone for the purpose of developing a subdivision with 20 to 21 lots in the future. The executive summary, the applicant intends to purchase the property and sell 2.5 to 3 acre lots with approximately 2,000 square foot homes. The property would have to be rezoned to the requested rural residential zoning classification for the applicant to have the ability to develop a future subdivision. The staff recommendation is approval of the request to rezone 68.87 acres located on Jerusalem Church Road from agriculture to rural residential. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and the video recording of the Planning Commission's hearing, included but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made a part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review. The location map is pulled up behind you. You can see the properties. Next. And you can see that there's the light green over to the left is suburban residential. Suburban residential is 1 acre lots. The property is surrounded totally by rural residential 1.5 lots. After reviewing the applicant's request to rezone, we recommend approval of the rezone request.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bray,
Good afternoon,
it's been
sir.
a long time since you were here before us. It's good to see you again.
Guess I should endorse the idea of entertainment. I thought that's what the reason was.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a minute to plug in a.
Who's this nice lady?
I have Mr. and Mrs. Chastain sitting here in the second row. They're lifelong residents. Mrs. Chastain goes back, way back. She was a Bryant, and this was Bryant property before it became Chastain property. I guess close to 100 years, isn't it, Ms. Chastain? Yeah. So I'm speaking here on behalf of Skillet Properties representative and as a lawyer, and I feel like I'm being a lawyer for the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Chastain too.
Tell me where Skillet Properties name came from.
Yes, sir.
I associate that with fried eggs or something.
Everybody wants to know why I call it Skillet, I just like the name. You cook in them all the time, I thought it was just a good name. Did you get it? You're gonna have to come back and find my notes on it. If you got a clicker, if you gotta click it. Grab my notes. I got it right here. I just want to share a few things with you to show you. Are you okay to click? If you want to. As indicated when staff reported to you, this property is pretty well surrounded by residential rural, same thing we're asking for in this instance. And right there in the middle of it, that RR, that's residential rural, and that happens to be the home place of Mr. and Mrs. Chastain. So when you look at your criteria under the zoning ordinance, that's one of the things that you want to look at, and we comply with that. What we're proposing to do, there'd be just 3 lots under the present configuration that'll be less than 2.5 acres, and they may eventually be at least 2.5 acres. This is a preliminary drawing, and when you get down to the nitty-gritty and have it engineered, it might come out slightly different. But there won't be more than those 3 lots, and they're just barely, one of them is 2.4, 2.3. On the average, if you did it by the density, the average is actually 3 acres lots. It just depends on the the way they have to run the line to make sure we comply with septic tank requirements. We've already had a preliminary inspection for availability that septic tanks would comply. If you look right down there on Hill City Road, there is no water line. So the county has told us that we gotta put in a 8-inch line going down to our last lot at our expense, and we're gonna have to do that. Only about 7 homes for our project will get water, and the rest of it be for the rest of the folks out there if they wanna get on county water. I think the county water department wants to move that line that further down the Mathis Road and hook them together. We believe that there's a main line on Jerusalem Church water and plenty of water out in that area. So we don't think water's gonna be a problem.
So all of these, there's no internal roads except for that.
No internal roads, just using the existing road, Thompson Lane, Jerusalem Church Road, and Hill City Road. So we're not gonna be having to create any roads to make the project work. To give you some idea of the product that will be built on this property, I'm gonna show you a few pictures. The homes will exceed 2,000 square feet, and they'll be in the market at over $600,000. So that's a pretty significant contribution to that area. They'll be in a style we think is compatible. In fact, I have agreed, Mrs. Bryant said, what are you gonna call it out there? She wanted to know. I told her we call it Bryant Estates, because that's for her mom and her dad, her family, because they've been there so doggone long, and we're gonna do that. Just giving you a couple of pictures of the type of homes that we're doing. Now, these pictures, I'm giving you just a general glimpse, if you haven't seen it, of the area. One of the things is it's suitable for agriculture. This property it doesn't have any pasture on it or any kind of real farming activities. And if you want to say it's suitable, you don't have to spend a ton of money. You're gonna have to basically strip it down and then plant grass. We think that that'll cause a whole lot more runoff or problems of that nature than just putting in just 20 wonderful homes out there in that community. So it's not really suitable under present zoning classification, which we think that diminishes its value, and its value lies in doing a residential rural subdivision, although there will not be any 1.5-acre lots. These are gonna be large lots, and you have to notice that some of them even get up around 5 acres. There's 4.75 there, 5.5 over there, so we got some large lots interspersed in there. Very few hit the that 3.5 range. So the lots are large lots, and we think that'll add value.
So how many lots then total?
20,
20.
and that's it. Now, that doesn't include Mr. and Mrs. Chastain's home, which is 2 acres by itself. If you included it in our project, it'd be 21, which we told them we want that house too. So they're ready to move on to a different time in their lives. And you know, we all come to that, and unfortunately, whatever the circumstances are. So we think that we're not gonna hurt value, certainly of any contiguous property, because it's got the same zoning classification we're asking for. So we're not hurting anything there. And right now, our value don't meet the highest and best use of this property. Because if it was pasture land and, you know, we could do horse farms and like that, it'd be a whole different proposal. So, and we think we got quality people that are gonna be associated with this project. In fact, he's the one that built those homes that I showed you, he built 10 out there in that area, and he wants to build some more quality homes. So I'm speaking as, we think it's not suitable in its present zoning classification. We're gonna do the water line ourselves down Hill City Road. We think the value is diminished. We know that it's compatible with the land use plan. We know it's the contiguous properties of a similar zoning classification. So we think we presented to you a project worthy of a favorable recommendation. I don't know, Mrs. Chesney, did you want to say something to these?
No, I'm fine.
You trying to
I won't do.
Okay, she said she was fine.
She's trusting you, Mr. Bray.
Yes.
Jerry.
All right, so who's gonna build the houses?
Sir?
Who will build the house?
Currently, it's gonna be Mr. Ernie Brown Construction Home. I've done projects similar to this on Tim Hook, Bradley, Carverville, Bryant Road. I'm really taking a bit of pride in doing something that really is, you know, not asking for density. Now, he may not be the only one who builds a home. We're gonna put some limited restrictions on the properties. We're not gonna make it like a HOA, because I'm telling you, people just don't like those things, really. But we are gonna put some restrictions, like no chain link type fence in the front. You want a fence in the front, it's gotta be a 4-board fence. Things like that, you know, no mobile homes, no storage building out front. You know, the general things that make it look like what you saw in those pictures that somebody can't butter it up. But that'll be the extent of it, and anybody that lives in there can enforce them, so it'd be that kind of thing.
So you.
Oh, she does?
Mr.
Who?
Mr. Chastain.
I'm gonna leave it to you. I take a few minutes, because I might be pressing on my time a little bit, I don't know.
Hello, Mr. Chastain.
I'm Jerry Chastain, and it's my wife Kay. Kay was born and raised out there she just had a birthday, and I'm not sure I'm supposed to say her age. But it's
all right.
She's past 70.
Me too.
Dealing with Parkinson's, and that's what's been there. I've lived there for 40 years with her. I probably dated her 10 years before that, with her daddy out there. But when this, we had no idea, we thought we'd live there forever. But health problems and things come along, and we had our son started saying, you know, Mom and Dad, y'all need to plan before a crisis. So this past January, we started thinking seriously about having to make plans for a senior living center, someone want to help her. But I'll let you know that we've been good neighbors in Jerusalem, and I call it paradise. It's just beautiful out there. It's a wonderful community. But I went around to each of my neighbors and gave them an opportunity to, if they wanted to purchase more land or buy our farm. And in fact, I've had a couple of neighbors where they've requested I do a land swap with them, and we've generously been cooperative and done that. And so when it came along, we finally, none of the neighbors, nobody would step up and really wanted to buy it. I had my realtor friend, Mr. Pat Burke from Gainesville. It's a church member, a family friend, and he put the property out there, and he said, this is going to go in the big ocean where people are going to look at it. Well, Mr. Bray came along, and which I'm very, you know, at first I had a little bit of reluctance because I didn't know.
I can understand that.
But we have had a long period of time to talk with him about our designs for the farm, we call it, where we live. and our community. And his values and what we're talking about, just seem wonderful. For you people that have driven along Hill City or Highway 53, and I've explained to many people who come by, there's this wonderful mountain view. If you look back there, there's a fire tower on the mountain called Tally. And right next to Tally is Sharp Mountain. And then from Sharp, there's Rich Mountain that goes all the way down to Cherokee County. And you can see it on the east side and the west side. We're on the west side. We're about 6 miles away. And Kay and I we have been farming pine trees for about 25 years after the tornado hit. But we opened that view up, and it did our heart well to see it. And we think that would be wonderful to share with the community. If you looked at the map that Mr. Brady put up there, the little triangular piece at the intersection of Hill City Road and Jerusalem, and that's the community garden. That was her daddy's garden, her father, J.D. Bryant. And I'm not a farmer. Now, Kay grows plants. But our neighbors would use that little half-acre piece of land, and they would grow tomatoes and vegetables and share it with other neighbors, us included, thank goodness, because I love the tomatoes. But back to the mountain, if you look back to that Tally, Sharp, and Rich Mountain, I've explained to people the more I've studied a little bit about the geology and the lay of the land. The state of Georgia has a state mineral called the starlight. And y'all may have seen the little cross star. And come to find out, if you go to the geology website for the state, the largest deposit of starlight is on the east side of Tally Mountain, which the rockhounds across Georgia find that. So I just think the community, there's a lot of things that we share in our community. Now, Kate's family, the Bryants, have been there for over 100 years. But my third great-grandfather goes back to the Civil War era, and he lived in Jerusalem. So we've had family there, just generations that have been there. We've seen Jerusalem grow, things have occurred. And we think that her father and our relatives would be, would be in agreement with us to allow these large legacy home sites to come in, and it would still be a rural type area.
So are you going to act as a developer, or?
I'm a civil engineer, a professional engineer, and I've heard a lot of discussions about runoffs and things. The formulas go through my head, Q is equal CIA, how the water runs and how much you get and things. But I'm not going to be actively developing. I'm sort of retired at this point. So
who will develop the land? Is it that would come consistent with the site plan you put forward?
Mr. Brady?
You don't need this list. We're closer than that. Who's going to develop it? Are you going to develop it?
Yes, I'm in charge of it.
Okay. So you'll be acting as a broker for?
Not as a broker, just the one to supervise, get the engineers out there, sole people out there, get the design done, submit it to the county, et cetera. And then Michelle Hampton is gonna be the broker.
We've seen Ms. Hampton before.
And so the idea is to build 20 homes in there, what you've seen there. It may take a while, for that kind, or it may be that one or two other builders come in, but it's gonna be controlled by what we have expressed to Mr. and Mrs. Chastain that we're gonna be doing.
Are you gonna sell lots to builders, or you're gonna control all of that?
We're gonna control it all, but if another builder wants to come in and build that kind of home, we may commit it, but we're not gonna just turn it over to a builder. That's not the purpose.
So one of the other things you mentioned on the restrictions, are you gonna covenant a certain home size? You mentioned 2,000 square feet, is that gonna be?
Yes, sir, it may be actually, we might put a minimum of 2,000, but for that price home, it's actually gone closer to 2,100 and 2,200 square feet.
There would be some minimum in your
Yes.
covenants for the.
Yeah, we're not gonna start with one nice home and then change that.
Right.
It's gonna stay that restriction, yes, sir.
I thought you said that Brown Construction was going to be developing. Now you're saying you're developing?
Well, I'm developing the lots. I'm not a builder, and I don't want to be.
Okay.
Mr. Brown has built on Carbonville Road, Bradley Road, And out in the Jerusalem area already, I'd say he's built 10 so far. And so he is the primary builder. He's the one we're looking to. If we get this thing approved and that county gets all of that, he'll start houses immediately.
So he would come and buy the lot and then start the house and
Yes.
they'd go in some order like that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. We got a couple of folks want to speak. So you can have a seat, Mr. Bray.
Thank
Jenna and Todd McQueen, is that right? Come on up here, Todd. Are you speaking for Jenna or just for yourself?
I'm speaking for both of us. She can interrupt at any time.
I know the drill.
So my name's Todd McQueen, and I live very close to this area, and I have a few concerns. Probably the biggest one is what I believe is a small spring head that may come off of the property on the smaller partial on the Jerusalem and Thompson side. And there's a spring head there that I'd like to have the Chastains confirm if it comes from their property, because that feeds my property and it feeds animals that we have, and those animals become food for my family. So that's a concern for me. If that land is disturbed and that water is stopped or rerouted, that's gonna affect my land and my family. So that's dear to me.
So you've got a stream on your property
That feeds into Scarecorn Creek.
and to the best of your knowledge, it's coming off of the Chastain's property.
From what I can see.
But you
from
don't
the
know
maps.
where, for sure.
Correct. Comes from that area, possibly from that land. I can't confirm that. I've never hiked through there. So that's one of my major concerns, because if that water stops, it's gonna affect my lifestyle and how I do things on my property. My land doesn't directly contact that partial, but I'm close enough that it would affect me. As far as the amount of homes that are gonna be there, I'm not against development, because I would like, if I was in their shoes, to be able to reconsider my property, which I'm not. But I would like to request no smaller than a 5-acre lot to keep it a more rural feeling in the neighborhood. Again, if they develop within city or county ordinance and codes, then I'll have to agree with it, as long as they follow in the rules. An even bigger issue for me is the county and the way that they take care of the road system. There's been a pothole on the corner of Jerusalem and Thompson for however long. I'm gonna say a year, somebody can say I'm wrong. And I hit it about every other morning, and I know it's there. So
you keep hitting.
Yeah. It's right in my path. And right where this partial is gonna stop.
Have you consulted with the road department on that?
I have not,
Is that the one that sprayed?
but I'm pretty sure they know it's there, because they just put gravel down that whole street on the other side, just to make it passable.
Are you familiar with that?
I'm familiar with the pothole. Is that the one that somebody sprayed red?
So, I'm making light of the pothole, but the pothole bothers me. And if the county can't correct that 15-inch hole, it's only gonna get worse with more traffic. And even beyond my neighborhood pothole, I'm concerned 53 can't handle more traffic. To get people, children, school buses, even people getting to work, 53 get backed up every morning. Luckily, I leave early, so I get to avoid some of that. But if you're leaving anytime after 7 a.m., you're bumper to bumper from Jerusalem Church to town. This morning I got behind somebody that wanted to go 22 miles an hour below the speed limit. Safety was great, but the flow of traffic is gonna get worse with a minimum. If there's 20 lots, average 2 cars per house, 40 more cars, it's gonna be an impact on all of us in that, area.
I would
Anything
encourage
else you'd
you,
like to add? Yeah.
I would encourage you to reach out to the road department
Okay. All
and
right.
ask them
I will.
to take a look at it.
So for me, just to recap, water flowing through my property, I'd like to keep it that way. It feeds my animals. Road impact is the second.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah, with you.
I live on Evans Road, which basically Thompson turns into it. So there's one property, I believe one property between that Parcel and Evans, which is a big landowner. I think I'll speculate close to 80 acres. I don't believe they plan on developing it, but I think this is in their backyard.
Okay,
I'm very close.
we got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mindy Craig. Come on up here, Mindy.
First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak. First, we hate to lose such wonderful neighbors as the Chastains. I've grown up in the Jerusalem community, moved away for college, and said I wouldn't go move back because it is a beautiful place. And so, similar to what you've heard, we live on the corner of Jerusalem Church and Thompson. So this property is across the road from us.
Are you familiar with that pothole?
I'm very familiar with the pothole. Very familiar with the pothole. Very near, actually, to my parents' home, which they're here as well. And we have experienced significant growth. If you haven't driven down Jerusalem Church Road, you should. We have a lot of new homes. And honestly, through this process, got to meet some of my new neighbors in the area. So just took a little bit of time to drive around and talk to people. I have 12 signatures of property owners in the area. And the main thing for us is that we're not opposed to growth. We actually see the growth as positive and very good when it is smart growth. A couple of things though to point out, we have two neighborhoods on Jerusalem Church already, one at the 53 end and one at the Talmadge, if you're familiar with the four-way stop of Jerusalem Church and Henderson Mountain, neither of which are very successful. The one closest to 53 has been there, has 2 homes in it and one under construction, 3-acre lots already available, and it's been there for a while, not a lot of development there. The neighborhood at the other end of Jerusalem Church is called Ellsbury. My understanding it was intended to be an equestrian neighborhood, and I believe there's 1 home in it. So the type of growth that's been successful in Jerusalem Church Road area has been larger lots with single homes on them. So what we would ask the people I spoke to, the signatures I have, is really just to be respectful of that, to look at the lot size, the 5-acre lots like the gentleman mentioned, are more in alignment. And if you look at these rural residentials that are surrounding this area, what has happened over time is that a single owner owns 4 or 5 lots that are adjacent to each other and just have never rezoned that property. So they're not small rural residential lots. They're, for instance, we own a couple of those. My parents own 2 or 3 of the ones on the other side, and it's all one property. It's just never been rezoned to a larger zoning. So what we just ask you to do is to consider the traffic, the wildlife, the property values, and to consider that the growth be more in alignment with the growth that's been successful in this area. Instead of the 2 neighborhoods that, again, if that's what someone is looking for, they're already available, that type of living if you want to live in a neighborhood, but it is not what we've seen be successful. So I don't know if I need to provide this with the signatures of the neighbors.
You can file that right there. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did that cover it?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Kristen Joyner,
Hi,
come on up here.
I am Christina Joyner. I have the
Christina.
privilege of living in the Jerusalem community. I've been there for 28 years. I lived in the sister community of Hinton. I have lived in Pickens County my entire life. So as my mom, I am a generational Pickens Countyan. My grandmother's family, the Childers family, is known as one of the founding families of Pickens County, and they happen to be from the Jerusalem community. So I have the privilege to move back there. I actually live on some land that my cousin actually owned. Did not know that until he passed away and started talking to his daughters and found out I have the privilege of owning the land that his family owned, and he happens to be a Bryant also.
Okay.
So I'm here requesting that you decline this subdivision. So from Highway 53 to Henderson Mountain Road, there are 42 homes. This includes 2 that are in the subdivision at Jerusalem Farms that the young lady spoke of earlier. This does not include 3 homes that I consider unlivable. In less than 3 years of those 42, 17 are brand new homes. That's less than 3 years. That is 38% of the homes on Jerusalem Church Road to Henderson Mountain that have been built in the last 3 years. That is a tremendous amount of growth. So within Jerusalem Farms subdivision, there are 2 homes. I did include those in my numbers. There's 16 available home lots. As she said, these lots are already available. So there is also 5 more across the road that are parceled for home lots. That's 21 homes. If you add these, that is 41 homes. That is 41 more homes on an already stressed water system. Mr. Bray stated that there's plenty of water. There is not plenty of water in Jerusalem. I have reported 2 water leaks in probably a year and a half within a half a mile each other, if that. That's the only ones that I've noticed. There's others. The water pressure is horrible. Thank God I am privileged with a well and we have plenty of water. However, we do have a meter set in case we ever need to get on county water. I fear that if you approve this at what it is set, that this is going to set precedent for other large tracts of land that generational families own on Jerusalem Church Road. And they're going to do the same thing. Look at Jasper. It's no longer a small town. We are supposed to be known as the first mountain city. Well, now we are the first mountain city that is grown and we've stripped that. We are the first crowded mountain city, as they all are crowding. So I just ask that you decline this request or look at the 5-acre lots. I'm from Pickens County. I don't want to live anywhere else. I don't want to move. I've raised my children here. My daughter came back from North Carolina from college here. I pray that my son comes back here after he finishes law school. But just when the world's all about money, why don't we take a step back and show them that Pickens County is not all about money, but about keeping our rural roots here. Thank you for your time, and I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Kevin Cumby?
Well, that's close enough.
I'm sorry.
I've been called a lot worse.
How should I have said?
It's pronounced good.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Sir. I'm a newbie. I'm by no means a legacy here. We were introduced to Pickens County through the Craigs, and we love it here. And as I tell anybody that will listen, this is still the United States of America in Pickens County. And we appreciate that. I had some objections. I think they've already been voiced. I have a solution. There's a fellow on Carlin and Jerusalem Church that is currently selling his property, but he segmented it out and surveyed it out in 14-acre plots. Right? To me, this could be applicable to this situation. If the Chastains would consider it, if we enlarged the plots, I think it would resolve a lot of these objections. It'd be substantially more money, which I think they could actually make more money. I'm no expert, but I think if you segment this property in 10-acre or more parcels, you'd probably make more money. I don't think anybody here would have an objection. It would resolve the water problem, and everybody could live happily ever after. That's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. All right. Bethany, the first issue that was raised was a spring head.
Once Mike turns in his erosion control plan, the surveyor, if they see a spring head, they will address it at that time.
And what would they typically do?
Protect it, just put it, put measures around it to protect it.
So that might be possibly on somebody's lot, right? One of the lots.
Correct.
Part of this.
And if it is on somebody's actual individual lot, once they pull a building permit, they would have to, stay 70 feet away from it.
Okay. So rural residential
Yes, sir.
is for what size lots?
1.5 acres, minimum.
Minimum. Minimum.
Minimum, correct.
And, okay.
Clayton, may I speak to the spring head?
Yes.
If I could provide some more information. I'm also a surveyor of old days. Harlan Carver used to be the county surveyor when we had county surveyors. And I surveyed, if you look at this, 18 acres on the west side of Jerusalem Road. It's up there, AG right now, and it borders SR. But that vertical line is a north-south section line. And I have surveyed that several times with Harlan Carver, while walking up through there. There's no spring heads in that. The spring head, there is a small branch that comes out of the SR, but it goes into that green area that you see there that's not in this property. So basically what runs up through there is almost on a ridge to some degree. It comes off of a ridge and comes down, but the spring and the branch that feeds through there is on the adjoining property. It used to be the Moore property. So that's what I recall, having been there several times. So, but I think if there is a spring head, it could be addressed, but I've never seen any wetlands back in there or any wet areas. Now the pothole, I got a check engine light on my tire.
You don't want to go there.
I mean, my right tire is damaged unbelievably. Katie said, well, I'll talk to the county about that, but I'll let that go.
The road department would be delighted to hear from you.
Jerusalem Church Road is scheduled for paving. I think it's scheduled to be repaved, is it? The road's supposed to be repaved.
Don't count them.
Well, we can wait if we put it off another month.
So, Mr. Chastain, did you ever, as you were developing this concept, did you ever consider larger lots?
Actually, the RR that Kay and I live on is 2 acres. And I'm not sure what size land you fellows live on, but with the 2 acres I have, and Mr. Bray is proposing, up to 5 acres down to 2.5 or 3 or more, probably gonna average around 3. But when I go mow my grass, I got 4 hours with 0 turn more. And that's on 2 acres. And, you can make it as large or whatever, but even 1.5 acres is quite large for a home site. So I find at where I'm at, even 2 acres, and my neighbors coming south on Jerusalem Church Road there, those are all 2 acre lots, and there's plenty of land around them and between them that I think when you go to the legacy lots of 3 acre sizes and more, that's quite large for home sites in this area. Most home sites are not that large at all.
There was a survey 6, 8, 9 months ago where the whole county was surveyed, and people said that they favored larger lots. So that's that's in the mind of a whole. You're fashioning on a large lot based on grass cutting time.
Well, an acre is 43,560 square feet. So you start looking at 86,000 for 2 acres, and then you're looking at almost 200,000 when you get up into these larger. And that's a quite large piece of land. There's a lot of things you can do on it, but what Mr. Bray is talking about is basically wooded lands. Or people may have something in the backyard where they want to have a garden spot or something small like that. But I think the county regulations, what they put in there, 1.5 acres, is pretty generous being 1.5 acres. At least we're not like the city up here who we're going 1/4 acre or 1/2 acre. I'm not sure what they require, but I think it's in keeping with the community of what we have there. And well, that's what I do. Mr. Ray, do you have anything you would add?
I don't know if I'm permitted to add anything, but just a couple of comments.
Let me see first. Questions from the board. Mr. Bray, Mr. Chastain. So Bethany, rural residential, where by definition is a minimum of 1.5 acres.
Yes, sir.
And so that is the bottom, but not the top.
Correct.
But it being the bottom, we can't raise that bottom because it's the definition.
You just can't go lower than an acre and a half. He can build 5 acre lots, 3 acre lots, whatever he wants to. You just can't go below an acre and a half.
And the next category up would be,
Estate residential,
and what is that?
minimum of 3 acres.
3 acres. So it doesn't get you twice as large minimum, but it doesn't get you very far. Okay. Pat, you live out that way. You're
I
familiar
do.
with that pothole.
I'm familiar with that pothole. I'm very familiar with that pothole. I'm also familiar with a lot of traffic on that road, including a trucking company that really probably shouldn't be there that goes zooming by and almost runs over you.
Do you have any further questions?
No. But yeah, the traffic, yes. I'm going to address the traffic.
I live out that way, been out there for a number of years, I live off the Reavis Road. I don't want to dispute what these good people are saying, but I drive that road at least twice a day. When I leave here this evening, I'm gonna go 53. I go 53 in the morning, I go 53 in the afternoon, I go 53 everywhere I want to. I'm sorry, but that traffic's not as bad as that gentleman has it. I drive at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, all day long. You know, we don't have a traffic study, of course, but we're talking 20 lots.
But you know, traffic is in the mind of the beholder.
It's
It's the
just
guy
like,
behind the wheel.
just like beauty is, I agree with that. But the only thing I wanted to add is kind of a little rebuttal time. We are surrounded by RRs. Those people can do exactly what they want to do. Miss Chastain are asking for the same courtesy. And, you know, there's legal aspects to all this, and I'll follow that with Mr. Field and Mr. Brown. But I just want to let you know that we didn't come into this thing, you know, to tell you we're not going to have a lot smaller than what I showed you on there is way beyond what residential road was. We just couldn't get to the 5 acre and make it work, and then we get the value of the property. Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not, I don't understand that. It's important that you understand that, we're not selling this by choice. My daddy always said, never, 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 never sell this land. But it's likely that I'm going to require long-term care.
Understood.
It's going to be expensive. We're not selling it for the money.
Understood.
We're selling it because we need it.
Understood. Thank you. Yes.
I thought I signed up to speak. Did I not sign up to speak?
I don't have you on the list.
I signed up for the wrong one then.
You signed in, not up.
Oh, I didn't sign up.
You're the marketing person.
Yes, I am.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
Okay.
That's
I'm
all
going
a
to-
good marketing person needs. You know, you're supposed to have a 15-second elevator speech.
Let me just, I just want to clarify a few things that have been said. Coming from 53 down Jerusalem Church Road, where you've got those houses on the left and the right, and then also another portion of it was developed by Jose in the back. Those lots are all gone except for the 3 terrible lane ones, and I know that because I'm needing a lot right now for Mr. Brown to build a house on because we're in limbo. But that SR there, next to, on the west side of the 18 acres there, that, it has been divided into larger tracts, but it's never been changed on zoning, which means those 10 acre tracts could be cut into 1 acre tracts. So if you can get right down to it, they don't have to rezone it, I don't guess, unless y'all pass some kind of, something that says they do. It's zoned SR right now. And I talked to Lamar Jordan, which is the owner, him and Karen, and they have no intention of rezoning it. She said it's gonna leave it like this. So, that's pretty much what I want to say. It is conforming with the things down Thompson, is conforming with the Kelly property, is conforming with the properties across Hill City Road. Even the big farm out there that we all know as, what's the name of that farm? Anyway, that big farm that you gotta go by on Hill City Road. It's RR. So it's not that you don't have a ton of already RRs out there. Mr. and Miss Chastain have sold their property, not necessarily like they told you, but or they're selling it, not necessarily because they wanted to.
Understood.
Because the fact of the matter is why deny them this zoning? Because we got a willing buyer and a willing seller here, and
Understood.
that's
Thank you. All right, further questions?
Mr. Gray, you mentioned you're gonna have to run a water line.
Yes,
You heard the comment about water issue.
Mr. Chastain has a pressure reducer at his house out there, so he has no problem. And I don't think the county would have told me I gotta pay for an 8-inch water line going down Hill City Road if that trunk line on Jerusalem Church Road didn't have plenty of water. If they didn't have plenty of water, I wouldn't be trying to get folks to buy homes out there.
Understood.
Yes.
Further questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve it. Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Is there further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. So our recommendation goes to the commission, and the commission then considers that at their next meeting. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Jack. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Bray. Good to see you. Don't forget your scalpel. All right. We've got one more item here. If everyone will quietly leave. Okay, we're going to close that hearing. Congratulations.
It's not.
All right, we'll close that hearing and we'll open the final hearing for the night. RZ-190568 portable buses.
Yes, sir. RZ-190568 is Affordable Investments LLC. The property is located on Gregory Drive. The applicant is requesting to rezone 6.24 acres from agricultural to rural residential. The applicant requests a rezone for the purpose of creating lots for resale. The staff recommends approval of the RR rural residential request. In addition to this memo, I hereby incorporate the entirety of my office's file and the video recording of the Planning Commission's hearing, including but not limited to all witness testimony, in order that this information be made part of the record and shall be available for the Board of Commissioners to review. If you will look at the map behind you, you will see the property in question. Next. And that is it's surrounded by rural residential. It's just a sea of ag and, an island of ag and a sea of rural residential. Next.
Mr. Shells, You're the last one. We're not worn out yet. We got
Oh,
plenty of
I'm here for the entertainment. I think we should start charging tickets, pay off some of the debt and stuff.
So you weren't here the first time this came before us.
I watched it. No, sir, I was in Phoenix, and I know that you were looking to drill me.
Drill is not the
I
right
know.
word. So there was confusion about whether the property had already been divided or not.
I don't
Bring
know.
us up to date on it.
So back up just a little bit before the explanation I gave you in this second rezoning attempt. Joey and I was called by a lady that was selling her parents' estate. And just like you can click on Q Public now, she called us, she told us what she wanted. We were told there was a barn structure on top of the house on the property.
That's actually a house.
Or
was it a house?
Yeah, well, I get to that. We were told it was a barn, it's grown up, Joey and I buy things sometimes just like that. I clicked on Q Public, saw the acreage, and up top it said zoning R4, and my mistake, I didn't click on the zoning map and noticed it was ag. It does still say R4 on it, which I know there's a disclaimer in there, but we were moving like that. We were trying to get her to the closing table. Well, after that, we closed on it. We went and talked to Philip. Our plans was actually to make it in 7 lots because it had enough. We thought it was RR. We're just going to split it 7 times without having to ask any kind of permission, besides going through what we needed to. We went to Denise, Environmental. We've done more than most, or in fact, anybody here's done in due diligence. We did all our boring soil tests. I think we did 48 holes to make sure it worked for home. Did our topo, which is beyond what other people were doing. We started remodeling the one home, and as we were remodeling that, we went to the other home, and I thought it was a barn. And when I walked in there and I saw 4 trusses, and I'm like, this is a house. So I called Stephanie, and I said, Stephanie, do you have any old tax pictures? She goes back to the early 90s.
Who's Stephanie?
Stephanie Gooch, the tax assessors, because they got all their little photos that they keep in the folders. She went and pulled, lo and behold, an old photo of the house that was there. Doing a little more research, to the best of my knowledge, there was a tornado. It blew the roof off. The family just chose not to rebuild that home. They rebuilt the other home. The county has it as 1 tract still. It is 2 tracts. That was approved by the Pickens County Planning in the 90s and filed at the courthouse. However, somehow it was never sent to the assessors or wherever it goes after the courthouse to be updated on Q Public and the county records, is from what I understand. I try to be as transparent as possible when we're doing these projects. We started remodeling the home. We didn't know what we were going to do with it. We really didn't have a plan. We were going to try to sell it all as a whole. We did talk to Philip about bringing water down. At the time, the acting, and correct me if I get the title wrong, the acting director, a gentleman, was guiding Joey and I along. We were remodeling the home, and we had a couple from Forsyth County that approached us and wanted to buy it. We said, sure, we'll sell it. Of course, we were talking, at the time we had it divided into 7 lots, and the house was only going to be 596 Gregory, which is not in this, was going to be on 1.5 acres. We talked to the acting director then and said, hey, we got somebody wanting to buy this home. Can we sell it? He said, there's nothing we can do from stop you from selling land. You can put your pins wherever you want. We called Hartman Law, asked them, hey, can we sell this land? They said, absolutely, you can sell it. That's what we did. We weren't trying to do anything nefarious with that other property. And at the same time, we continued with the county. There's countless emails with the county showing what we were trying to do. And we wound up with 1.5 acres up top, and then the 4.5 acres down low with the house that we've presented the county an engineering letter that it's ready to be rebuilt. The foundation was not damaged on that home. Our intentions
are to sell that home with the 4.5 acres. However, since we're under 5 acres going, which is below SA, small agricultural, we need to go to RR. What I'm trying to show the neighbors and you guys and everybody publicly is what could happen. Once I go to RR, you can break this land into 3 acre-and-a-half lots without coming back if you wait a year. So, which is kind of what some of these earlier hearings were hinting at. Hey, you can do this. I'm not going to tell you that we're not going to sell it as 3 lots if the buyer comes, but our intentions is to pull a permit, market that house for 4.5 acres. If somebody says, hey, I only want 3 acres, that's fine. You can buy, lot, whatever the numbers were that we presented, 4 and 5, and we'll have the other lot. I know that some people, and this is kind of, there's mobile homes. Somebody brought up mobile homes at the last hearing. There's mobile homes already on the road. I'm not going to judge anyone on a mobile home, but only one of those lots is mobile home capable from the lay of the land. The bottom lots are all homes. They'd have to be homes, daylight basements. We did our wetland study. We've done everything we're supposed to do. But on top of that, the biggest thing I think for us is we're surrounded by RR. We're an island. We're not asking you to allow us to do anything they can't already do without coming in here. And that's it.
So it's still 6.24 acres?
Yes, sir. Since I don't technically own the land that we sold to the young couple, I can't rezone for them. I couldn't get a hold of them. Therefore, I talked planning. If they want to come there, I think they said they can't put another structure on there or do this and do that without, they would actually have to come and rezone their own property. Our original contract told them that we were rezoning, but since we withdrew that, I guess legally, since this is a new rezone, we couldn't apply for theirs. I'm not a lawyer, don't pretend to be.
So out of the 624, what's actually left?
624. It was the total acreage
624
originally.
plus?
The total acreage originally was
11.44.
11.44, and we sold 5.02 or something that's in the middle there that showed off.
That was the house that you resold.
Yeah.
624 is aside from what's sold.
Yes, sir. The middle's what we sold there, and then the 2 with the stars. I think that's an acre-and-a-half, little plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
All right. We'll let these folks, we got a couple folks want to speak. 2. Kenneth. How are you, Kenneth?
I'm fine. How are you, sir? My name's Ken Rudine.
Yeah, thank you.
I own the property across. Beg pardon?
Thank you for your patience.
I'm sorry. That's fine. I own the property across the street from this property. This property all drains into my property. There's no way around that. There's a ditch that runs along the length of the road on their property. I ask that remains at all costs. I've lived there for 25 years. I've owned the property for 40. There is a lot of water that runs off into there. There is a catch basin about up where the turn is on that little corner, that triangular piece there, that probably is not even known by you. There's a catch basin there with a drainage pipe that runs under the road into my property. And my property is straight down to a spring-fed branch that runs the length of the property, pretty much follows the road. That catch basin is full of beer cans and liquor bottles. You probably wouldn't even notice it and I don't want you to build a driveway over that if, the county has never cleaned it out. All that water runs across and into mine. My yard is eroding something awful, my property. I have no problem with them dividing it in the houses, putting those up there, I don't. I'm just concerned about the drainage.
Did you have the pen a while ago? Who had the
That's me.
highlighter? Can he show us where that catch basin is on that plat? Cause we're real big on runoff.
Yeah.
Right thing with it. I got soil erosion lines.
The light comes on.
Okay.
No,
Cause I know there's a ditch on our property that the water is carrying on the way down to the bottom of the hill, right? Correct?
Right there where that house is that y'all referring refurbished.
The
And
one-
also the bottom of the driveway, there is a culvert there.
Let's
Okay.
have all the conversation coming this way, please,
Okay.
So we-
Anyway, that ditch should be about right in here somewhere.
Is there a culvert there that goes under the road?
There is a culvert.
Okay.
And it's probably full of beer cans and liquor bottles.
Well,
I got tired of picking them up. I go out there about once a month and pick up the liquor bottles and beer cans.
So is the ditch in the road right of way?
Yes.
Okay.
On my side, there's no ditch, it's just straight downhill into the branch.
So if the ditch is in the road right of way, then Mr. Schaus couldn't do anything to affect that ditch.
I hope not. I mean, I'm sure he's gonna have to cut a driveway in there, and he's gonna have to cross the ditch and put a pipe under that.
Right.
But, I don't want him grading the land down to the edge of the road and doing away with that ditch, because all that water's gonna come right across the street.
Yeah, the county won't allow you to do that.
Right.
You gotta put a
Okay,
pipe.
well, I wasn't aware of that. I came by earlier talking about them shooting up lunch, I think.
And just to be.
And also right here at this turn, this corner, all this water is running from here all the way down and across here into my property. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Is that a ditch issue then?
There's no ditch. The ditch tapers out right here at this curve.
Okay. Have you talked to the road department?
The way the land lays, there's nothing they can do. It's where
Yeah,
two valleys.
it's
where two valleys
and I'm not opposed to the water.
Yeah.
As long as those ditches remain there, I think we'll be fine, and if they can clean that culvert out, I think we'll be great.
Okay.
I think we can handle the water then, so,
Right.
but I'm not opposed to anything else,
Okay.
okay?
Point well made. Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
Becky.
Yes, I'm Becky. Hi. I'm
Becky,
Becky.
you're back.
I'm back.
Come on up here.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, after everything that David just said, I think you can understand why all the confusion that we, that we had. And so because of the fact that it was the 11.2 and then we came and it's been reduced and all that. And so really, honestly, we don't have a problem with one more house on the slab that's just sitting there as a slab. We do have a couple of concerns and a couple more questions, I think. So he was talking about the water runoff. Let me explain first. Beth, that's here with me, she is the property right down at the bottom of the road. So she's the property adjacent to this property, and then I'm next to that. So we actually share a driveway in between our two properties. And she elected me to talk. So, but anyway, so what he was talking about the water runoff. So our other issue there is our creek that runs. It's more behind the property. So what the water doesn't go his way, it goes our way.
Yeah.
And we had one major flooding issue with our creek last 2 years ago. Washed out our whole entire culvert in our driveway, and we had to spend thousands of dollars to have that replaced literally because of the creek. So that's our real concern is what's going in the creek and trees being removed and stuff from the property that's there. The slab that's up there now, I mean, there was a house there before. Everything else is really wooded lots, and so we're worried about taking down all those trees and then creating more runoff and silt. We have big silt problems in the creek already. The other issue I want to bring up is that all the lots on this road are like 2.5 acres. That's the smallest lot. And so I have 5, and she has almost 3, but a lot of them are 4 and 5 acres that are on this road. And when we started out with the 11.2 acres, that was to be sold, it was split into 1.5 acre lots, 7 of them. So there, and even with the Harmons, I believe is their last name, that own the house up there now. Even with the way it is now, I mean, we technically have the potential for 7 more houses, there, and it's like uphill. We live at the bottom of the hill, and so it goes straight uphill from where we are. So everything that's going to come down is going to come down where we are. So, like I said, we don't have a problem with the one house on the slab that's existing. We're just worried about the potential for 7 more 1.5 acre lots up there, 7.5. And we did talk about the mobile home issue. That is a problem for us. I mean, because we think that would, devalue our property, putting the mobile homes up there. The house they just sold up there sold for $500,000, and and it's a lot comparable to mine, house size comparable to mine, and so we do have an issue with the mobile homes. We don't think that, he said that they can't really put mobile homes on that property anyway because of the lay of the land. And that would require what I said earlier about all the trees being removed up there also. So, and I think that's our main point. And we honestly had not seen how the property had been split because like no other things had been filed with the county. All we had to go on was what we had from before. So, that's our issue.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Questions?
Clayton, correct one thing, we can't put 7, the maximum is 4. A lot of confusion was with the stakes, she just said we can put 7, we're only asking for 4 more lots. And to conform with current zoning, and also there was a lot of confusion the first time about, we were putting all these lots in, the stakes they're seeing are actually boring holes, that's our boring sample holes, with the orange tape coming off for our perk test. That we never staked the lots. So that was some confusion as well.
So included in your summary that there'd only be 4 lots.
Yeah.
Is one of them the slab?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. That's the L-shaped lot next to the big, right there. Yeah, there's somebody's got a pointer on it. That's actually slab is already there in place with a septic and a well.
If I could just say one thing, when I said potential for 7, I was talking about if the other people come in and rezone their property, then there could be 7 more. Yeah, not David specifically. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Questions? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? And a second. Further discussion? No, we're not moving as fast because it's getting late today. Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Approved. Okay. Let me thank everybody for coming, and thank you for your attention, and we appreciate that. All of our recommendations go to the commissioners, and they make the final determination, and that will be next month sometime. So, thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?